Hello, Facebook. This is Merrill from the Cordial Eye here with your Self Care Saturday Facebook Live. We're here every Saturday at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live, so make sure to keep checking us out. Today, I'm here with Sarah Jesse, who's going to talk with us about self care. So, Sarah, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here.
I would love to know, why is self care important to you?
Self-care is so important, I think. So I am in the social work field. I am a counselor for domestic and sexual violence survivors. Taking care of myself is the best way that I can take care of my clients. It allows me to show up and be present with my clients when they need me the most. And it also protects me in all of my relationships. So their friendships, coworker relationships, relationships with clients, just relationships in general. Self-care is the ultimate act for you. It's a great part of your life, and it improves that quality of life.
Absolutely. It's so important. What would you say your favorite forms of self care are?
So, there's so many different types of self-care. I think a lot of the times, not a lot of the times, but sometimes when we do talk about self-care, people can think of it as that bougie over the top stuff, like taking baths or going to spas or taking long lavish vacations. But self-care honestly never has to be that over the top, and that's not bashing those types of self-care, but self-care can also be these very simple acts, such as making your own food, or going shopping, or playing your favorite game. It can be those small moments. My personal favorite act of self-care is going down to the beach and sitting there, either with my mom or just by myself, reading a book, taking a walk, and just being present at the beach.
I love that. There are so many different forms of self care, and I feel like so often we just think about like bubble baths and buying yourself flowers and that type of stuff that we see on Instagram all the time, which is important and great, but there's just so much more to it. I love the beach too. It's such a great form of self care. What do
Absolutely.
you what do you find to be the hardest part of practicing self care?
Boundaries. It always comes down to boundaries. Boundaries and setting them, practicing them. That's the hardest part of self care for me. Boundaries in my personal life, especially, learning how to say no to other people when I can't be there for them in ways that they need me to show up, just because it might be too taxing for me. So, learning to set those boundaries and sticking to them. That's definitely the hardest thing that I experience.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Of
And
course.
speaking of boundaries, next week we are going to talk about boundaries. So that was like the perfect segue into that. We're going to talk. I know last week we talked about eco mapping and how to manage your energy input and output through making an eco map. So I think next week it would be awesome to talk about how to start setting boundaries and what types of boundaries we have in our lives, because it's such a huge obstacle in self-care, is managing those boundaries.
Yeah. It's
So,
That's art form. It's a practice, a
right,
life practice.
it really is. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of
It's been
course.
really awesome having you.
Yeah.
If you all enjoyed this and enjoy our other programs and want to see more, feel free to donate. You can do so at our website, thecordialeye.org, and make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, like and subscribe so that you can see more content. If you want some more self-care tips and tricks during the week between our lives, you can join our group, But First Self-Care, which you can find through the Cordial Eyes Facebook page. If you have trouble finding it, feel free to message us. And feel free to also ask questions by sending us a message if you want to ask an anonymous question for us to address next week. Or you can also ask questions on the But First Self-Care group and ask the community, and maybe you'll get some cool tips from the other people in the group. Until next time, stay safe and be well, and we'll see you at 8 p.m. next week. Take care. Bye.